And there's reasons for that, you know, in a public space probably shouldn't be mentioned, but it's annoying. And in film, in film, this bit's getting cut. In film,
oh no, it ain't.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that's over with.
Welcome to the EVR FWD Podcast, your friendly backyard hangout by artists for artists. From dirt roads to red carpets, I'm Tyler Tackett.
And I'm Mair Mulroney.
That was really aggressive, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was super aggressive.
I don't know.
But you got it out
today. I'm excited.
You should be. We have a very exciting episode with two very special guests. They're our first guests on the podcast.
Oh, that's true. I guess they are.
Yeah. I mean, we've been filming other episodes, so we've had guests.
As far as you guys are concerned, these are our first guests.
These are our first guests.
And very important ones to boot.
They are. You look like you might be in I don't know, some sort of a celebratory mood or something, kind of in like, you're giving rock star.
Do you just call me celibate?
I would never call you celibate.
No. You celibated me short. I know what you're saying. I look like...
It's the eyeliner.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like pirate.
You look like a pirate. You do look like a pirate. Yeah.
Pirate with 6 string. Jim Carrey used to do this thing where he would play his leg like a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's so this whole thing. I just threw it together. Yeah. I guess I do have a little bit of rock star energy today. Any particular reason why that may be?
I don't know. You know, I was feeling the rock star energy as well, so it must just be in the air. Or
it could be on the newly redubbed EVR FWD Network channel and their very first collaborative show coming in under that network, BSB TV. Blood, Sweat, and Beers, 2 incredible gentlemen from the UK who are kind of doing the exact same thing that we're trying to do in showcasing artists. We're doing it, you know, in film and this side of things. But they kind of, unbeknownst to us, I did not get an email. We're doing something very similar in the music world and having a tremendous amount of success about it.
They were having a tremendous amount of sex with it? Is that what you said?
It's a term that the kids use these
days. Rock stars, right?
Yeah, mostly in our community. Yeah, it floats around. Sorry, some of that jargon slips out from time to time.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I hope they are having a lot of sex with it because they're under our banner now. So we have teamed up with Blood, Sweat, and Beers TV, which is a big stream. They're big on Twitch streaming, but they're moving over to the YouTube space and they've decided to join forces with us. If you guys are just... if you guys are just watching on YouTube, then you might have noticed that some of the designs on the channel have changed a little bit, and the name of the YouTube channel has changed. It is now the EVR FWD Network. It's a rebrand that we've been working on. Formerly ThatGirlMair, all of the content that was on there is going to stay on there. I'll still do reactions. We'll still do reactions. The podcast will still be on there, but... we are now going to host other shows.
Host, develop. We have, we've got our fingers in a couple different things, and it's all happened really fast. Mm-hmm. That's why we haven't put an episode out in a minute. We've been, I know. Don't count the weeks. It's been a minute.
Oh no,
trust me. But it's because there were some really interesting developments that happened over the last couple weeks, months maybe, that we couldn't have anticipated. Very exciting things, but ultimately things that have put us in a position where we may now be able to do what we had set out to do, which was create our own stories, tell our own stories with people that we really love and respect and want to work with. And it feels like the writing's on the wall that it may be happening sooner than we could have anticipated.
Yeah.
You know, and the first kind of step was partnering up with Danny and Ben over at BSB TV, you know, and just being around other artists that shared a similar vision, man. Yeah. It just goes to show. When we started this whole Everforward Productions thing, it initially started out as a way for us to try to pitch some of the scripts that I had written or that we were developing together. And the podcast seemed like an easy thing we could do to, you know, shoot the shit, talk to some folks, maybe throw out some occasional little tidbits of knowledge.
Get a little brand awareness out there.
That's...
You know?
Are you a DJ? Is that DJ hands?
I'm DJ Business Brain.
Oh, shit. DJ BB. It's either that or a Tyrannosaurus Rex. DJ T-Rex.
DJ T-Rex. Babe, I was on Instagram, not to like go somewhere else in the conversation, but just briefly. I was on Instagram, and I have no idea who could validate this for me, but it had like dinosaurs, and you got to choose like what dinosaur you were based on your birth month. You are a T-Rex.
I'm not saying that's exactly what I would have guessed, but I mean,
it makes sense.
Yeah,
you know,
makes sense. Rawr.
Anyway, sorry, that was a little deflection, little
deviation, little detour. We're taking the scenic route to get to our point. That's okay. That's kind of what we fucking do.
I'm really trying to stay on topic with this one.
I know, I tried to. I know. That was the one thing we should have anticipated when we started doing this podcast is between the two of us, it must be infuriating to try and keep up with whatever the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, like, do we ever finish a point? I don't know. We need to finish this one, though. It's important, okay? You're right. Yeah.
You're right. Point I was going to get at is when we started doing this whole thing, the goal was to... I don't know. It was to just get our names out there as filmmakers and stuff like that.
Allow people to see us in a different light.
Yeah, but we didn't have any sort of idea or notion that it was going to work out. But then it kind of fucking did.
Because nothing in life ever works out.
Except it fucking does, man. And look, I feel like it's just further proof that if there's something that you want to try, you gotta just fucking go for it. You don't need to know all the details. If it's something you're passionate about, something you want to do, take a shot, because sometimes shit does actually work out.
Yeah, like, truthfully, I mean, we, you know, in doing the podcast and stuff, we knew it was kind of going to be a slow burn. It's longer form content and stuff, and it's hard to get a bunch of eyes on it. But that's fine, you know? Like, sometimes
we're having fun doing it.
Yeah, and it has led us to where we're able to do this now. So, you know...
Point of all that being... What you're going to end up seeing from us now that the channel's been rebranded is a variety of shows with a variety of really wonderful, talented creators. You're going to come to Everforward, not just for a podcast, maybe to check out what BSB's up to, and they're going to jump on here in just a second and tell you exactly what that is. Maybe it'll be some other really fun, interesting content, and the hope is to grow with you guys, bring in new friends, show that if you have a dream and you work really fucking hard and you keep your whimsy about you, you can have all those things.
Yeah.
But
speaking of dreams...
Should we just go ahead and stop rambling and jump in with our fellas?
I think so. BSB TV is, they bring on a bunch of A&Rs every week, and they rate new bands based on like their music videos, and they discuss them and stuff like that. But they've gotten some bands signed already because of this. So
yeah, they create an opportunity for, you know, maybe some musicians that don't get the recognition. They give them an opportunity to be like seen and critiqued by, you know, industry pros, and at the end of the day, someone may end up with a record deal, you know, and they've had plenty of people do that very thing. But I don't want
to have that show on the Everforward. I think that's so cool. I just think that's so cool. I think that like ideal first like launch, especially if someone who came from music. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love what these guys are doing. I'm like so glad that
stellar humans, really talented, and we can't wait for you to meet them. So without further ado, let's go hang out with the boys. Little Blood, Sweat, and Beers TV. All right, guys. Well, as promised, here we are with two incredibly talented, very driven individuals that we are so excited to be collaborating with. These are our friends over from the UK, BSB TV, and they have been taking the indie music scene kind of by storm. So without further ado, Ben Pritchard and Danny Marty Ray, everybody.
Hey,
What's
welcome,
up, guys?
welcome.
How's it going?
It took you how long to do like the devil horns? How long?
I don't know. Too long.
Too long.
Did you not master the devil horns? Was that a thing?
Well,
Yeah,
no, it's
yeah,
just
I probably went for like
2
the
seconds
Spider-Man.
before he went in. I do the hang loose, like I always do hang loose. Like,
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
I used to work in restaurants, and I would go to a table, and they would like give me their order, and I'm Mr. Cool Guy waiter. And so after we would give me the order, like, okay, right on, guys. And I would do this. I don't do that in my regular life. I've never surfed. I have no reason to ever do that, but for whatever reason, in that moment, my natural instinct was, all right, cool, and then I'd walk away and be like, "You son of a bitch!" Every time.
that's amazing. That is, I do it. I like literally do it. I'm like, yeah, see you later. And I don't know why I do it. It's just part of it. I don't know. It's ingrained. I guess
It's like
everyone
that
has their
or
things.
like peace, and it's like
peace. Yeah.
How often
Yeah.
did we ever do that in person? Like never.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, if I do, I can't do that right now because if I do it, you know what's going to happen, Danny.
What?
The balloons will start popping up on the screen.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
your whole
right, that's the
iPhone
thing.
thing. Yeah, the
Wait,
fireworks, the
it's not going to
balloons.
do it now, and now I'm going to be
No.
embarrassed.
That's so funny.
But
Yeah.
no.
Just
probably
we
just
should just
not
have
my
you
meeting.
waiting there like this.
Yeah.
You guys,
Be
where
like,
did you
no,
come up with?
no.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, where did
Got
you
it.
guys come up with Blood, Sweat, and Beers TV?
Well, we didn't know what it was to begin with. So, I mean, like me and Danny met through basically I was working for another publication and Danny got in touch with us and said, hey, did you want to sponsor our festival that I do called Hometown Festival? I'm just going to put it out in a public space. I don't think I've ever said this publicly. Before I knew Danny, I knew of Danny and I didn't like Danny. And I will be completely honest. He knows this and I'm glad this is coming out. I will be completely honest. I was extremely jealous and envious of everything that this man was doing. Like he was just working with people that I could only ever dream of. He was like his band were doing like good tours. I mean, I was going out on tour as well, but like seeing I think it was just like I knew I loved him before I knew I loved him, and I think it was like that love-hate thing. But yeah, anyway, so we did our publication got asked to do Hometown Festival, and I was a little bit apprehensive, and I was like, oh, fuck, I've got to go sit on this meeting with this guy that I apparently don't like. And this Danny get on this meeting. There's like 10 people on there. And everyone was great, but we had to listen to songs that had been submitted for Danny's festival. And I thought, I will be here for an hour. That'll be fine. 4 hours later, everyone else had fucked off. Like they'd gone. Me and Danny was sat there shooting the shit, talking, still listening to bands for this festival. And it just became this like great friendship. I remember getting off that meeting and ringing my partner and being like, I actually really like him because I'm such a mean person. But I know now it is because of jealousy and envy. And the thing that is so amazing about Danny is that he puts in more time, more effort, more work, more grind than anyone I have ever met. And that is how he builds up those relationships and those friendships. And I'm extremely blessed to be able to do this with him. But shortly after that, gone off completely off tangent. You rang me, didn't you, Danny? It was
I did.
A random Wednesday night, probably, and said, "Do you want to come and do a Q&A with me in Cambridge?" My friend Thomas Nicholas, who plays Kevin in American Pie, is coming over, and he wants us to do a Q&A. I thought we could call it Blood, Sweat, and Beers Podcast. And that's where the name came from.
That's literally it. Yeah.
So it was just like completely random.
Just off the dome.
I love it. Yeah, that's great.
Well, you already had, the thing is, you already had you already had all the URLs and everything set up, didn't you? You knew you wanted to do something called that.
Blood, Sweat, and Beers. I think it was like subconsciously because you put blood, sweat, and tears into something like a project or a venture or whatever, and it just, I don't know, it struck a chord, and I was like, oh, Blood, Sweat, and Beers, and then here we are.
Do you know biggest
Crazy.
irony is that me and Danny are like the least drinky people ever. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
I could be teetotal. I do not like. I do enjoy like a beer, but I don't like. We don't drink on stream anymore. We used to, but we don't.
We did.
Like, it's quite like the streams are long in a good way. Like, they never feel long, but they are. And I feel like if I had a beer, I'd end up absolutely half cut by the end of it, and I'd be missing things on my stream deck, and I'd be forgetting to do stuff. And so
You got one eye closed. You got the hiccup.
Yeah.
And another thing.
Yeah. I think we also judge it on the guest. Like, if the guest pops open a bit, I've got a fridge full of beer. Like, it's been in there for like 2 years. But like, if the guest pops open a beer, I'm like, okay, I'll have a beer. But if not,
Yeah,
I'm on
you
the
kind
Pepsi.
of like take the lead from from your guest or who you're with, I guess.
Yeah.
Why don't you
100%.
give us like a good breakdown of, because we kind of saved the intro for you guys, because I don't think anybody can describe your platform quite the way you guys can. So why don't you give us the BSB TV rundown?
You want to go, Danny?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like essentially the main thing, it came off of the back of Barroom Talk at that gig that we were just talking about. And we were sat there and we were talking about the music industry, and we were thinking about all of the things that kind of are awesome about it, but also things that were kind of like missing. And we grew up in an age where like you had, MTV, Kerrang TV, all these really, really cool like TV stations for, for getting your band or your project exposure. But the one thing that we kind of, I guess, realized was kind of missing was like the feedback loop. Like, you could get featured on Kerrang TV or you could get featured on MTV, and maybe the the VJ of the channel would say something about it beforehand or afterwards, after the video had been played. But who you weren't hearing from was the people watching the channel. You couldn't hear from your potential demographic, like the people who love the artists and bands. No feedback from them. And so we were kind of sitting there going, well, maybe we could put together a platform where that would be possible, and you'd be able to have like live feedback and engagement and that kind of stuff. And then we were like, well, maybe we could take it a step further than that too, and add like some industry kudos in there. And so maybe like every week we have a different guest from the music industry, and it could be somebody who's like a tastemaker or a media personality, or it could be a radio DJ, a festival organizer, a label head, anyone like that who essentially kind of has that, I guess, influence in the music industry to be able to take any one of those artists and bands we featured and give them like a real world opportunity, or at the very least some feedback for the feedback loop, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys ended up on Twitch?
Twitch was a dangerous decision. So Danny used to run a podcast with Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was called Music Networking 101. They would bring on industry guests, and they would talk about their story within the music industry. That was basically the premise of the whole show. Now, I used to watch it because me and Danny had already at this point we'd met, and I thought it was really cool, and I thought I'm going to moderate the chat, see if I can help out of it. And one of the things that like it irked me, and it's nobody's fault, but it was a missed opportunity, was the chat never got approached on this stream. And I was like, why aren't they talking? Like, people are going, hey, Danny, this, or hey, Jarrett, this, or hey, Modson, or hey, James from Busted, whoever was on. They were asking questions, and it was kind of getting ignored. But it was because of the way that show ran. So when we started BSB, the first thing that I said was really, really, really important was interaction. We want to be able to talk to our chat, and we want to be able to have conversations. And Twitch just felt like a natural home for that, because it is built on that premise of being interactive. And there's so many cool little functions that you can do. Like, I've got my Stream Deck. My Stream Deck has noises on it. I can have visuals pop up from the touch of a button that I don't really get the same effect for if I put it on Facebook video or YouTube like live, which again, looking at YouTube live is something we want to do. But because we do it through Twitch, and that's where we're at the moment, we're kind of getting to that point to then move it and kind of multi-stream to YouTube live. But the other thing as well with Twitch was it's a gaming network. So we were like, can you make a music platform big on a gaming platform? And the answer is yes. Without sounding arrogant, we've proven that, you know, we're doing extremely well. We made affiliate within 2 weeks, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
It was crazy,
wow,
and
that's huge.
we genuinely had no idea at the time what that meant.
I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. And then someone went, wait, you did it in 2 or 3 weeks? We're like, yeah. They were like, that's awesome. And that's credit to our audience and credit to the people that clearly wanted something like this to exist. I mean, literally, I can I read out, like, and this is, again, I'm just reading this out to kind of show any bands watching, like, the sort of feedback that we get. I won't name any names. In fact, I've got to try and read it without naming any names. But we got this really, really nice message yesterday saying, hey, Ben, it's Beep from Beep. I never got a chance to message you or Danny, but I just wanted to say thank you for the super kind words that you guys had for us when you had our previous track on the show a while back. We're also planning to have another new track on the show soon. Another thing is from myself and the band, our best friends in another band, and everyone around. From the bottom of our hearts, we love and appreciate all you do for all smaller and growing artists. You guys give us a spotlight we would not have without you guys. And I think I could speak for everyone when I say we're eternally grateful for all you guys do on BSB TV. So thank you so much. Lastly, I wanted to say I love your energy. And again, thank you for all the kind words about our track. And personally, thank you for the kind words about my vocals. I've been screaming for a long time, but I've only just been singing seriously now for about 3 years. So your words mean the world to me, especially the Davey Havoc compliment. Thank you, Ben.
Hey.
It's got a love heart on it. Now, this is why we love doing it, because we can put these up and coming bands that are fucking awesome, like they're so good, and we can put them in front of someone like a Jarrett Reddick, like a Kevin Lyman, like, you know, someone who's out there in the industry that's already done the bare bones and got to where they need to get to, and you can give them that. I mean, it's great. I mean, some of the feedback that we get from these people is just insane, and that's why we do it.
It really is. I mean, it's crazy even mentioning Kevin Lyman, because he was like, when we started this, we had like a list of bucket list guests, and he was like on that list, and we were like, well, that would be cool if we could do that in like maybe the first 5 years. So to be like this, you know, this far in, like early in, and to be having him on the show already is I mean, I can't even comprehend that. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. We're eternally grateful for it.
It's kind of like I was in the music industry for a while. I still am, but like I'm more on the acting side now. There were always showcases, right? But it used to become like, especially I was in New York doing stuff in New York a lot. And it started to feel very much like a hustle. Like, all right, artists, you pay to be on this panel, or you pay to perform on this showcase, and like so-and-so from such and such is going to be there, but you never get any feedback from them. And just because they were there doesn't mean they stayed the whole time. It felt very much like a racket. And I did it a bunch of times, and I was just like, what is the point of this? You know, like as an artist, you know, like it's not forwarding my career. I feel like it's just like paying a bunch of money to be in front of people who maybe they don't care about my, you know, genre, or maybe they don't care, like, or they're not here for this, or there's nothing that like, it was just like a paycheck for everybody. So what you guys are doing is it's different. It's like, that's the way it's supposed to be done. Because that's how, you know, that's how people get seen. That's how they get discovered in the industry. You have to be in front of the right person kind of at the right time, so somebody can open that door for you.
We've had that, like, I love that you've mentioned that as well, Mair, because we've had this, like, I joke about this all the time, and I have nothing against traditional PR because I think it serves a really good purpose. But I've done PR campaigns before where they've gone, yeah, we're getting you played on South African college radio. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. So the first time you go and check it out, and sometimes there's a little live chat that you can join in that, and your track gets played, and then the song after it is so out there in a different genre, that there's no like collection there. Like it's just, oh well, this person's paid to be on here, so we'll play it. Now on BSB TV, the way that we work as well, if anyone's interested, you have two routes of submission on our show. So we play people that don't pay money every single week. In fact, the majority of what we play on BSB every week is free. We don't charge, but we give people the option, because we get, I mean, normally I say we get between 200 to 300 submissions a week. Because of what we've announced recently, we've had over 1,000 submissions in the last 12 days. Like it's fucking insane.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
The devil has but we vow to go through, and we go through every single song. And unfortunately, it doesn't mean we can listen to all 3 or 4 minutes of your track, but we make sure we listen to enough of it to get a good feel of what you're all about. But we offer another route. If you want to get in front of a certain guest, you can pay a flat fee of £50 and you're put on the show of your choosing. And the reason we do that is because we put that back into the business. We put it into making sure that we can do things. And we created what's called like a breakout bundle, where we give a load of stuff away every month. And we're doing a lot of stuff to try and give back. But because we got so many, a lot of bands were coming to us going, I want to be on your show, but I don't want to be a needle in the haystack. Like, is there a way I can kind of avoid that situation? We're like, yeah. But what's so wonderful about that compared to what you were saying is that they are going to get that feedback. There's nowhere to hide. Like you can't, like, again, if you are Jarrett Reddick, I'm going to mention Jarrett again because he's a great guy, but you have Jarrett Reddick on, he can't disappear while your song's playing because it's live, he's on camera, he has to listen. And give that feedback. So you're getting something really beneficial off the back of it. And that's why I love the way that we've got it set up, and it works really well. And we play bands all over the place. And I think we're up to, is it 9 or 10 bands have signed record deals now?
That's incredible.
I think it's either 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah.
You guys are literally carving a path for people to make their dreams come true. And it's cool too, because like, a lot of times, and I'm guessing for musicians, I'm speaking, I guess, from the place of an actor and a filmmaker, but, the feedback you tend to get when you put your work out there is typically some form of rejection. From our standpoint, it's like, you submit to a potential investor a film and they're not into it, or you submit an audition for a role and they're not, and a lot of times it's crickets. You don't get any feedback whatsoever, or the feedback you get is typically thanks, but no thanks, right? With what you guys are doing, because if I understand correctly, like the fans and stuff are watching the show and they can dive in on the chat and stuff as well, right? And be super involved. You don't get that. It's one thing to put your song on YouTube, but the thing is, people will stumble across your song on YouTube, not necessarily looking for it. And so the comment section and the feedback you're going to get is going to be a mix of some people who are music fans that are going to be really into what you put out and give you some sort of feedback in that world. But a lot of it's going to be trolls or people who don't care or whatever. So you get it's hard to go through the mass of, comments and stuff. This, people are coming to you guys because they're fans of music,
Yeah, definitely. I'll put it like this.
And the artists get to see that.
Exactly. And the best way to put it for in your situation, like let's just say you had a show reel and you sent that to, a casting director or the likes. Imagine if we were to put it on something like BSB, you would have it on there. There might be an actor that you like absolutely loved. Do you know what? Who's your favorite actor?
My favorite actor?
Yeah.
Fucking hey, how much time you got? I got a bunch. Let's go off the dome, Johnny Depp.
I was gonna say the same
Give us
thing.
the
Johnny
list.
Depp off the
Give
dome.
us the list.
Right, so let's just say it's me and Danny. Oh, well, where's the rum gone? You've got me and Danny and Johnny Depp are on screen. Okay, we play your show reel, and
Sure.
Afterwards, Johnny Depp is giving you his feedback, but also the whole way through your show reel, you have fans, you have independent casting directors, you have other people within the film industry all commenting on it, and off the back of that, you might get an email, you might get a Facebook message or something from someone going, hey, I saw you on BSB TV and let's do something. And that is what's happening more and more with our platform within music, is it's not just fans in the chat. The fans are incredible, but it's also booking promoters. It's also record labels. It's also
That's
like
the key right
endorsement
there. Yeah.
companies, you know. And we there's a lot of music videos that we get sent back from bands that have previously been on, and they're wearing like Forgotten Sons apparel, which is a clothing line we work with, because the owner gets in the chat, and if he likes a band, he's like, here's some free t-shirts, please wear it in your next music video, you know. And it's like, it's great because these bands are getting stuff. And I remember coming up in the music industry, and I was like, do you know how cool it would be if someone sent me a t-shirt like to wear? Like that would make my life when I was a kid. And we're able to do that for bands. And it's, again, I keep saying we're able to do it. The community that we've built and the team that we've built are able to do it, and that's what makes this tick. It's so fun every week, and I just some of the results are just insane.
It's unexpected as well. You know, it started because two best friends wanted to listen to a bunch of music discovery together, and then all of a sudden we find there's like this whole A&R side to it that was probably subconsciously there for both of us, like when we started it, but that didn't really like full on like come to fruition and realization until those things started happening and bands started signing like record deals and going on tours, and you know, all of this crazy stuff that we would have absolutely killed for when you know, in previous projects and stuff. And then we realized, right, this is what we want to pivot and do. We want to do more and more and more of this. We don't want it to be like 8, 9, 10 bands that get signed. We want it to be like 10,000 or 10 million. You know, it might sound ambitious, and it is, but that's what we want to do. You know, we want to just
ambition is not a dirty word, man. And you know, it's funny how often that ends up being the case for a lot of kind of game-changing platforms in the whole, like, you know, we didn't set out to do this, but we were honest fans of this particular art form, and we just kind of rolled with that fandom and trusted our gut, and we had, you know, we were willing to tackle the problems that we saw in this, you know, in the industry. Did you guys both start as musicians?
Yeah, we're both. He's a guitarist, and I'm a vocalist. So right on. If BSB wasn't enough, we also have a project that we've started together called Gold State. We released our first single in April through Punkerton Records. We've just released our second single last month, again through Punkerton, and we've actually got a song coming out with Jarrett Reddick and Thomas Nicholas. So it's a full circle moment at the end of June.
Let's go, guys! That's awesome.
So yeah, we do that, and then we've also got the idea. We've got a clothing line that we're looking to start up at the moment that is on the back burner because everything else is kind of superseded. But we've got
crazy.
A clothing line called Hollyweird that we're looking to launch. We've had a few like prototype designs made. Danny's actually wearing it in one of the music videos, aren't you? You're wearing Hollyweird.
That's right.
But yeah, it's really exciting, and we're obviously not bored of each other because we just keep finding new things to do within this same
new
space.
Ventures, new things. New craziness.
You become kind of like a married couple. You just spend so much time together.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. You know, when we got introduced, you know, us and you guys got introduced, the thing in our first kind of meeting that really grabbed our attention and got us so excited was the approach that you guys have, the outlook that you guys have, and everything you're trying to do is so similar to what we're trying to do on the filmmaking side of things.
I wouldn't even say trying.
I mean, the things we are doing on the filmmaking side. You know, I think the world, and Mair's going to roll her eyes. I say this all the time, but there's this culture shift that happens every 10 to 15 years where there's this, let me know when you get tired of hearing this. There's this culture shift you see in art where, you know, the art, whether it's film, music, or whatever that's being put out is all very commercialized and very entertainment based, which is great. There's a seat at the table for that. But then it gets oversaturated with that sort of stuff. And you start to see this absence of, like, I don't know, connection between people because the music that they're listening to is all kind of paint by numbers, or the films that they're seeing all paint by numbers. And there starts to be this craving for new things and a new way of doing things. And now I think we're getting to this place where people are more drawn to independent artists and people and artists that they haven't seen 1,000 times before. They're more open to that. Whereas before, maybe it was just niche fandoms that would find a particular type of art. Now, I think the general population is more into the idea of showcasing independent artists, and
both our industries have the same but we both have the same problems and the same successes. I think personally,
Yeah.
like you've hit the, I love that you've just said that as well, because like I think the powers that be at the very top of both like the film industry and the music industry, they are gatekeepers, and it's a big talk. There's a lot of gatekeeping, and there's reasons for that you know, in a public space probably shouldn't be mentioned, but it's annoying. And in film, in film, this bit's getting cut. In film,
no, it ain't.
In film, there's a lot more independent directors, independent like film companies that we're all starting to really enjoy. And like even myself, like up until about 2-3 years ago, I never watched foreign film, as an example. Now, like one of my favorite TV series is Alice in Borderland. I think it's one of the best things ever made. And I'm discovering a new medium within, you know, within film, because I'm not just sitting there watching what Hollywood wants me to watch or what, you know, the BBC's telling us in the UK to watch. And it's the same with music. Like, you know, Danny, you're sick of me saying this. Real Big Fish in the 90s said it best, that when they said the radio plays what they want you to hear. And still in 2025, we are all listening to the artists and bands that are being paid, that the radios are being paid the most amount of money to put on their stations. Or you know, it goes a little bit higher than that, obviously. But like Sabrina Carpenter, like she has a fucking phenomenal like budget for what she does. Right. And that is why she is everywhere. Taylor Swift, again, they're not bad artists. I think both artists have got a right and have got a place, but they're pushed because of the budget they have behind them, the labels they have behind them.
To the point that other artists don't even want to enter the charts around that time because they know there's
you can't compete.
Was it Taylor Swift had like in the UK and in the US she had Billboard Top 10 on all of her albums when she re-released them. Like all in one go. Like the Billboard Top 10 was literally like Taylor Swift, you know, all the way. And it was the same in the UK. And like, there's, you know, I love her dearly for getting her music back, and she's absolutely, she's kick ass. But it's like, as an independent artist, you may as well, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight at that point, you know?
You can't, you can't compete.
Not at that.
You can't compete. But people do, people get tired of it. Like even Beyonce, there was a point in time where Beyonce couldn't be touched. Now people are kind of like, okay. And I think a lot of it has to do with like, you know, economies and stuff too. When people are like, I can't relate to you anymore. I can't buy.
I can't pay my rent. I can't buy food.
You know, and here you are, you know, flaunting this and that, and you're coming up with this out. And then people get judgmental. They're like, the audacity of you to put out a subpar album. It's like, well, if you go back.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, she you know, but she also, with the whole country stuff, like she's not a country artist. And I think that it felt to a lot of people that it wasn't organic, and country has to be organic. You can't fake country. You just can't do it. No. Like one of my favorite country artists is Zach Bryan. And if you listen to Zach, just everything that he releases, like Pink Skies is a great example. There is no hiding that emotion. I know people that won't listen to that song because it hits home it's too close to home for them, you know?
Oh yeah, there's gang songs I can't listen to.
Exactly. And that's that raw emotion that they're able to bring. Beyonce saying, this ain't Texas, it's not a hoedown or whatever it is. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel
it didn't feel like super authentic.
I don't know if you guys might not know this, but Danny, you might. She was literally giving away tickets to her UK dates on this tour because she couldn't sell it out. Like giving them away.
Yeah.
I think Katy Perry ran into that same problem recently too. Huh?
A lot of people have. A lot of artists have. One, their tickets are too expensive. They've got these crazy shows. Everybody saved up for the past 3 years for Taylor Swift. Okay, they're out. They can't pay their rents now for the next 6 months.
Worth it. Worth it.
Shout out Caitlin Rose really quickly, who's someone we work with, who actually flew to the UK because it was cheaper to get a flight and see Taylor Swift in London than it was to see her in America.
I believe it.
Dedication.
Yeah, I believe it. They're doing that. Awesome. They're doing that with a lot of films. Like a lot of the thing in LA right now is
free film.
Nothing is shooting in LA now because it's too expensive. It's cheaper to take your LA crew and fly them somewhere else and film than it is to film here.
Yeah,
you know.
That's
and I think
crazy.
I think you guys are absolutely right. I think, you know, art in whether it's in a visual medium or it's music or whatever the case may be, art is supposed to exist because I think as humans, we all feel like we're walking around in this infinite nothingness and we're screaming into the dark, hoping that someone screams back, but oftentimes when the world around us is so commercialized, and like if you're struggling financially or you're not at one of those top tier lifestyles where you just don't even think about money, if you're not in that small percentage, you feel like you're walking around in this abyss. But every now and then an artist or a film or whatever will come around that kind of yells back, that's like, hey, I'm out here too, I hear you. And when all those people are pushed out, well, then you're left alone in that darkness, right? But now I think the culture and the zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it, the general population are sick to a degree, like they're spiritually and emotionally sick, and showcasing these new artists that are coming from the trenches like them, who created art because there was something inside them. They had words in their heart that they had to sing or scream, or they had a vision in their head that they just had to put out there so someone else could see it, but it's all coming from a real place. And then some anybody from BFE nowhere can see that and be like, oh fuck, I'm not alone. I feel more grounded in this space. I feel like I have a friend, even if I never met him. And now I think you're seeing a time where people push back against these established artists with more power than God, pushing out those independent artists. In fact, they're taking the side of the independent artists because they recognize them as like, oh, you're me and I'm you, and that's who I want to get behind, and that makes me feel something.
Well, you're seeing like an ups, like a more mainstream like resurgence of like of punk, of country music. Where it wasn't that for a long time. It was all like money and, stuff
country
like
music
that.
is probably the best storytelling musical medium.
Oh, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
And, well, especially because they're like, it's more relatable.
It's the sitting around a campfire with an acoustic guitar telling, singing your woes and telling a story, and people can relate to that, whether it's happy or sad, I guess. But a lot of the get money, and dance your ass off.
It's fun, but like when nobody has money and nobody has money to go to the club, they're like, all right, I can't. This is making me depressed. All right, this is supposed to be my hype up music.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
this is the other thing as well, like with pop and like kind of club music and stuff like that, it doesn't feel timeless. Like, when you go back to go back to 2008, for instance, and you think about, you mentioned Katy Perry, and you think about like Firework or something like that. I came in like, a Firework or what. I nearly went into Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus then, I think, at the same time.
That was good.
I think
we call that
nice
a mashup.
I think
a mashup.
That's the same song, right? Yeah. What key is it in?
Yeah, it might be.
Firework. And then it's her.
I can't even like. No, you're right. It's the same song.
There we go. Don't ever like launch a firework whilst on a Wrecking Ball is probably the best advice I've got for anybody. But
that's good.
When you think of those songs now and you think about them in 2025, you wouldn't listen to them in a serious manner anymore. They kind of have that cheese feel, and I feel like pop always will have that. And at some point, this kind of like sex sells side of pop that we're getting with like Sabrina Carpenter and people like that at the moment, it will have, I personally believe, within the mainstream media, it will have it's like a ticking time bomb. It will eventually become uncool and unpopular, I guess is probably the word, and then it will be seen as a bit cheesy and a little bit cringe. Whereas like with like rock, country, even hip hop and stuff, like it feels timeless. Like you can go back and listen to Tupac now and it still feels relevant. You can go back and listen to, Hotel California by the Eagles and it still feels relevant. You can listen to like Garth Brooks, it still feels relevant. It's like, it's crazy how every other genre seems to feel a little bit more relevant than what's charting. And I find that really bizarre. Like the chart.
I think it's because of the very nature. It's also like a mentality thing. Like pop, you think, right, well, that's what's popular right now. So it's almost like subconsciously burnt into you that, okay, it's popular now. It's not going to be popular in like a few months' time, a year, whatever. Whereas with the other genres, we don't kind of start off with that, I guess, same bias.
Yeah.
No, you're like, actually, when I was signed, I was doing more pop music. And it was and I was on the East Coast. My label reps were on the West Coast. And back then, it's not so much anymore. things would pop off on the West Coast 3 months before you would hear them on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
We were more dictated by radio. And man, every time I would like come up with these records that I thought were great, and then you go back and they're still great songs, right? But the labels didn't want to put them out, and they would be like, "This song is really popular right now. Make this."
Right.
And I would be like, and it would be something like LMFAO, which where are they? Where are they? Like, you know, you ask it like it's someone now.
They stopped party rocking, so it ended.
Right?
That's what it was.
I was like,
it was party rocking in the house tonight, not every night. We schedule our party rocking.
Not tomorrow.
The album was literally called. The album was called "Don't Stop Party Rocking," wasn't it? And then they stopped, and now they're gone. So LMFAO, they need to party rock. Bring back LMFAO.
Take your own advice, LMFAO.
Dude.
They had to GTFO. You know what I mean?
It was frustrating though, because it would always be like that. They would be like, go, you know, make this, and I'm like, but that's already been made. It's already popular. Like in a couple of months, it's going to be something different. And it's like, oh, okay, well, wait until that happens. And it was like, at what point, when do you get to make the trend then? Like when
do you get to be an artist?
Yeah, like when do you get to? It was so frustrating. God,
a lot of big artists as well, though. Oh, go on. Sorry, Tyler. Go on.
No. You're good. You're good. I was just to say, like, you see that happening. You saw it kind of in the '80s, and then the pushback into the '90s. You got the, in the 80s, it's all, again, the sex sells and the big hair and, the stiletto heels and the Motley Crue and all that kind of stuff. And then you saw the 90s pop off and things like Nirvana and Rage Against the Machine. And this, it wasn't about being sexy. It was about being honest and dirty and gritty. And I think that's kind of where we're moving now. And so the fact that you guys are creating such a powerful platform for not only to showcase those artists, but also from an artist perspective, like I kind of said earlier, just getting to see that someone gives a shit, like you guys, or even in the chat when their music's playing, oh, people are really digging this. And these are people whose opinions actually matter to me. That gives the artist like the fuel to keep going and to have hope. You guys are giving hope to this generation of artists,
And that's what that's why we love it. Like we really do. It's an endorphin. This is the selfishest thing what you'll ever hear us say, but we like it because it gets us really excited and it is really good. But I feel like it's one of those selfish, like we do it for that endorphin. It's good because we can pass that out into the world as well. It's like, yes, we're gaining from that, but we're gaining from someone else's gain because
connecting people is like
cool opportunity.
The best way I could put it is like the best form of drug ever. It's literally, and and hopefully in the long run it's doing some good. It's potentially, I hate to use the cringy term changing people's lives, but that is what we're trying to do when we can form some of these connections and put people in touch with the right kind of organizations or the right labels. Like hopefully our hope is that it can do that for them.
And it's also coming from two guys who are also artists. Our whole kind of slogan with Ever Forward has always been, by artists for artists, and it's not to say that is gonna, kick out anyone who's not in that category, all be welcome here. But it's nice to feel like you're a part of a community again, because I think for a long time it's been this case of there's only so many spots and it's feast or famine. And it's like, I can't support my fellow artists because what if they make it and I don't? And it's the wrong mentality, I think, to have.
I love seeing people that like you worked with, back when it was like, man, we're getting like paid $300 for this gig real quick. And then all of a sudden
for rich.
Yeah, and you're like, you're doing some like stupid commercial with a dog that's getting paid more than you.
Yeah.
You see them later and you're like, oh man, you see them in a national or you see them on a TV show and you're like, freaking get it. Like go get, like, that's awesome. I love that.
Yep.
It's awesome. And I think it breathes life into the artistic community at a time when it's needed most. So out there doing the Lord's work, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
really is the Lord. Look at him. Look, so angelic. You are, look at you. Like
what does that make you? The devil.
I'm the devil, mate. I'm the devil. I was born on Christmas Day, so whenever everyone's like, "Oh, you're Jesus," I'm the Antichrist.
I feel
I'd
like
know if I went to church.
I feel like that's a double-edged sword, because one, no one has any excuse ever to forget your birthday. But two, you have to share your birthday with Jesus. And I'm going to be honest, he's probably going to steal the spotlight.
No birthday.
I was a smart kid. I was a smart
Yeah.
kid. And my brother and sister, I would keep track of what they got for their birthdays. And I would go into, so in the UK, growing up, we had something called the Argos catalogue. Okay, so the Argos catalogue was it was like a kid's dream come true, and everything you could possibly want. And what you would do every year is it was about like that thick as well. It was a chunky boy, and you would literally go for it, and you'd circle all your presents. That's what you wanted. That's what you wanted to get.
Yeah.
So I would go through after my brother and sister's birthday with a bit of paper, and I would write what they've got. And I would calculate how much was spent just on their birthday, right?
Excellent.
And on my birthday, being Christmas Day, I would do the same thing. Not a single year did it match up. I was always shortchanged. Like, even my own parents, like, they would shortchange me. Like, they'd get me one thing. I remember one year I got the Helm's Deep Castle from Lord of the Rings, right? I'm not ungrateful, like, don't get me wrong. I fucking loved that. And I never played with it because I was so careful. The figures were like that big, and, you know, I didn't want to break them, but I was really proud of it. But when I looked at how much that was in comparison to what my brother and sister got spent, it just didn't compete.
They should reassign you like a birthday in June, or like a
we did it one
birthday.
year. Yeah, we did it one year. I wanted a bouncy castle, and I wanted to have a garden. I want a yard party, basically.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't do that in the UK on Christmas Day or anywhere near Christmas, because you would freeze. Or get really wet, basically, just get really wet. So we did it in June or July. I can't remember when it was. And it was great because going out like from my backyard, we had like a conservatory, and you could jump from the conservatory into the bouncy castle. And it was the best birthday of my life. My son, very fortunate, has just had his birthday on the 9th of June. So the little shithead.
Little Gemini.
Yeah, but he's 6 months. That's all he ever has to wait for presents. How unfair is that? It's I have to wait a whole year, and he's 6 months.
It's bullshit.
It is bullshit. God.
I imagine, Mom, as you were telling that story, all my brain could picture was like baby Ben sitting there on his birthday, Christmas Day, in a suit with like an attorney next to him and a file. And like, all right, we were going over some of the numbers here and counting his presents under the tree. And I'll let my attorney take it from here. But let me just say, I am not pleased.
You learn when you get older that people, when they get defensive over these things as well, normally have a guilty conscience. We all agree with that. You know, you call someone out on something, and they start gaslighting you a little bit. That is what my parents did to me. Like, hey, I noticed that like my sister and brother got like this, and this, and I only got this. And they would just literally, well, you got this on this day and this. And it's like, whoa, okay, hang on. We're talking birthdays here. Like, this isn't, you know, they don't worry about that. But then as you get older as well, like I remember I always wanted a PS1 growing up. I've shown my age. I always wanted a PS1. And when they came out, probably a couple of years after they came out, I was finally kind of old enough to understand what they were. I saved up all my pocket money. I really wanted one. I managed to get £60, so about $80 worth, probably a little bit closer than that back then with the exchange rates and that. And it was £180 to get one. I didn't realize this until I was older, that my dad went and bought me the PlayStation 1 because he was so proud of my saving up. And at the time I just thought I'd saved up enough for it. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. And my parents, you know, growing up, especially my dad, was fantastic. But I just, birthdays and Christmases, fuck you, Dad and Mum. Is all I'm gonna say.
This is my devil horn.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, guys, we don't want to keep you here all day, but we wanted to just take a chance to just introduce you guys to the Ever Forward kind of audience, and we're super excited to have you guys and to be working with you guys and to just feed off your hustle and your creativity and your just everything that's driving you guys, the same sort of thing that drives us. And it's just, you know, rising tides raise all ships, and I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself by driven, working people that make you want to work even harder. And that's what you guys, in the short amount of time that we've known each other and been working with you guys, that's what you guys have done, is inspired us. Like, oh shit, you know, BSB's on it. We got to make sure that we're on it too, you know, and it helps. I don't know. I think it helps everybody. For the people that are just getting to meet you guys, how can they watch? Where can they find you guys? What should they tune into? I mean, obviously, we're going to start.
Have it on YouTube.
That's right. That is the exciting part, is that we're going to start posting y'all's videos here on the channel so they can catch them in 2 spots. But if they want to catch it live and be involved and be involved in the chat and all that stuff, how can they jump in?
So you can go to bloodsweatandbeers.tv, or you can go twitch.tv/BSB TV. You can find us on all socials. Very cleverly, everything on social is watch BSB TV. So on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever else you get your social media fix, we're on that.
And also on our website, there's a page called Schedule where you can see all of our upcoming guests as well, and submit for any opportunity you want to.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you guys have any, got anybody coming up that you can announce or anything you're excited about, or is that all hush hush and just know some good things are coming?
We've got Kevin Lyman next Saturday. So by the time this comes out, I'd imagine we'll either have just had Kevin Lyman, or we would have having him in the next couple of days. We've got Randy Nichols next Thursday. So he manages Under Oath. He's also managed some of my favorite bands like Say Anything, Bayside, etc.
He manages the starting line as well.
I love Say Anything. I love Say Anything.
I have 2 Say Anything tattoos. I've got one there, and I've got the baby from one of the albums holding it, which is for my son. For the in defense of the genre. But I huge Say Anything fan. Max Bemis actually wrote a song for me, so it's he's a cool guy. So the fact that we've got him coming on, Randy Nichols, is great. The whole thing with this is getting these managers on. It's great because we get their insight, but it also then opens the door to their clientele as well. So watch this space is what we're going to say. There's a lot of big names. And if you have any suggestions of guests that you'd love to have us on the show, hit us up. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, like I say, wherever. Send us a message. Go, I'd really love to see you guys have this guest, and our guest facilitator, Chris Ronan, will do everything in his power to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Love it, guys. Well, seriously, if we haven't kissed y'all's ass enough, we really are just so excited about everything you guys are doing. You guys are such hustlers and so great. And we both, independent of being on the phone with you guys, Mair and I both have spent a lot of time sitting there and just raving about you guys and loving what you're doing for the community. So it's an honor to be able to work with you guys. Thanks for jumping on here and chatting with the folks. We're going to be doing a lot of really fun stuff together in the future. It's so excited. We're going to announce, I guess we're taping this on a Friday. Monday will be our launch day.
Yeah, Monday.
Which means nothing depending on when you watch this, but it's exciting. I think this could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
Yes.
Thank you for having it. That was a good British accent as well. I liked it.
It was.
Thank you. I'm not very good at accents. I'm going to be honest with you. I try to steer clear.
Oh, that's my strong point. But no, thank you so much for having us as well. We're really excited as well.
And it's a pleasure. We can't wait to get this all hit off the ground and launched. So hell yeah.
All right, team. Well, listen, you'll be able to catch BSBT's episodes after the live streams on the channel, but make sure to go jump in for the live streams on Twitch. Actually get involved. Throw some feedback in there. Meet some cool people. That's kind of the fun of the show. So jump in there, and then if you miss a week, you'll be able to find it with us. And I'm sure we'll do some collabing stuff as well along the way. But all very exciting new ventures. And I think in a world where people are hungry for art and desperate for change, I think who better to spearhead it than a group of crazy kids who come from the trenches and have a dream. So good on you guys, and we're just so thrilled.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, that was a great interview with the BSB team.
They're so fun.
Oh my gosh.
They're so fun.
You're 100% doing like an accent challenge with him.
I gotta be honest. I think he's got my number. I think
you're gonna lose, but we're gonna watch it, and it's
as long as I've got you in my corner.
We had done like after we ended the stream, they started like going back and forth in accents. It was you and Ben doing it. Yeah. And
he's really good.
He's really good at accents. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We're really excited about all the content that's coming your ways. If you liked this episode, please make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends. If you have any music friends that you think would appreciate this, please share it with them or send them our way, send them BSB's way.
Yeah.
We are really trying to break out some new artists over here. So please give us a like, a share, a follow. leave a comment. It really helps with the algorithm, which helps us.
Yeah, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the really exciting stuff we have coming your way. We're really, really stoked with joining forces with BSB TV, but they're the first of many wonderful collaborators that you're going to start seeing on this channel. So make sure you pop over to their Twitch stream so you can jump in with the boys and hear some new music and get to have some kind of dialogue with the artists and kind of keep the community alive, and then come back over here and hang out with us. We'll do the same for film. And as always, we love you, and keep chasing your dreams and other inspirational shit that we could stay in this moment that I'm drawing a blank on.
All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
I hate that you just did that pose.
Why? That's like my thing.
This is? I need one then. Could my pose be like...
You hate that? That's literally every YouTube video I've ever done.
It's only out of jealousy.
That's not true. You hated that
No. See, the thing is, I didn't have one at the ready. And now I look like the gooberiest of goobs. You know what? I don't have time for this. I'm very hungry.
Is there anything to eat?
Ah!
Well, that's over with.